trying really hard not to get like, what's that word when you just feeling like everything's falling apart and it's bad?
Oh, yeah, that everything's falling apart and it's bad.
I'm trying not to get, what is that word?
I don't know. Is there a word for that?
Like you're just...
Never fall for fake pity plays disguised as depression. I'm about to expose how manipulative people weaponize their feelings and why it's time to call them out. We've got so much to dive into today, so let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it. Hey everyone, what's up? It's Elena here, and welcome back to my channel reality Nexus X. Sobs was practically begging Mary to say it. You're depressed. Of course, she couldn't say it herself. That would require owning her feelings, and no thanks. Instead, she sat there, pretending not to know the word that perfectly described exactly what she was feeling, or at least pretending to feel. Classic baiting. She wanted Mary to discover how hard everything was for her, complete with dramatic eyebrow furrows and all. Does she have any idea how Mary might have felt? Or for years? Nope. She's either oblivious or just doesn't care. Everything revolves around Robin. She needs everyone around her to be so wrapped up in feeling sorry for her that they don't focus on their own pain or who caused it. Finally, Mary is waking up to the truth, the snake in the room. It took forever, but it's happening. Watching Mary resist the manipulation, priceless. Having those toxic anchors out of her life will only help. Here's hoping she finds happiness with someone who actually deserves her. That whole scene was a mess. Robin calling Mary kiddo like some condescending boss, then passive-aggressively criticizing her for not wearing a winter coat, and trying to guilt her into carrying the torch for poor, suffering Kody. But where was Robin when Mary was suffering? And then the peak, giving Mary her estranged husband's coat from inside her own mansion, but not letting Mary inside. Talk about Christian charity. Robin is a master manipulator. She definitely didn't want Mary inside, where she'd see how much money she blows on tacky shopping sprees. She keeps QVC, Amazon, Etsy, Nordstrom, Dillard's, you name it, in business. The entire scene made the skin crawl. Robin was dying for Mary to admit she was depressed so she could milk it later as an excuse for not reaching out, while simultaneously telling Mary to stick around and carry the torch. Mary knew exactly what Robin wanted, and she didn't give it to her. Robin's whole routine is, I'm not depressed, I'm just lost in a fog where everything disappoints me, and what's the point? If Selena Meyer were real, she'd be proud. And those dramatic sperm brows of hers, the perfect symbol of her manipulative, self-centered act. Mary refusing to play along was the real victory. Are you tired of seeing people sabotage their own businesses with bad advice and zero planning? What if I told you one wife's B&B success exposed the real reason another's jewelry business failed miserably? Robin's comments about Mary's B&B venture did not age well. In Season 13, Episode 1, when Kody, Robin, and the other wives, except Mary, were discussing Mary buying the Parowan house, Robin expressed concern that Mary didn't have a business plan. The overall vibe was very skeptical of Mary's ability to run a business, almost expecting her to fail. It seems Robin wanted her to fail. Over time, Robin's role as a business expert turned out to be questionable. Meanwhile, Robin's own business, My Sister Wife's Closet, MSWC, was intended to promote family unity, but instead became a poorly executed online store selling overpriced and unattractive jewelry with inspirational messages that no one asked for. The site was inactive for years, but still allowed people to place orders, which was problematic. In contrast, Mary's Heritage Inn was successful. It was booked regularly, received good reviews, and became a source of pride for her. Robin's negative projections on Mary were ironic, considering Robin's own failed business venture. It seems Robin found it easier to criticize Mary's dream than to face the reality of her own failure. Robin's attitude also appeared motivated by the fear that Mary's business might divert money from Robin's use. It was positive that Mary involved the family to help finance the project, but it's fortunate the family didn't put money into the B&B, as they might have pressured her to sell for repayment, especially Kody and Robin. It was revealed that Kody took out $40,000 and never presented a business plan, later admitting a loss of $20,000. Robin mainly criticized the other wives to Kody, who was eager to listen. Her sole apparent purpose was to control money that she did not earn herself. Initially, Kody was happy about the possibility of helping Mary, but later the money was redirected elsewhere, possibly influenced by Robin, who may have highlighted her own children's needs. Robin likely feared that if Mary applied for a loan, family finances would be scrutinized, revealing spending inequalities. This may explain why Kody told Mary she had to apply independently. Mary is a type of personality, focused and goal-oriented, and was determined to succeed with her B&B. Though the Browns made business errors, Mary's organizational skills and meticulous nature were assets for running the B&B. Janelle is a hard worker and professional, but may lack some social skills needed for real estate. Christine is fun-loving but lacked confidence at the time Mary succeeded. Robin appeared to want a gravy train and lacked work ethic. Her MSWC venture was smart in concept but poorly executed. Robin wanted to be seen as creative with her doodles and jewelry, but did not properly gauge her audience. The wives' business meetings were disorganized, with Kody as the ineffective leader. Mary was the only one who seriously tried to help others and run a business effectively. Kody's hairstyle in older episodes was memorable and became a running joke. The real estate venture also didn't go well, despite the OG Force potential as a group. Mary ensured things got done and pushed for results. Janelle handled grunt work, and Christine and Kody worked on networking. Robin's potential contribution was limited and would likely have resulted in tacky staging and cluttered decor. Robin's jewelry was overpriced and unattractive, priced far above what her target audience could reasonably afford. The product line was mismatched to the typical consumer budget, especially considering the financial constraints of polygamist families. The idea to produce apparel instead of jewelry may have been more profitable. It was ironic that the family acted as if Mary was wasteful when much of the family pot money had originated from her MLMs. Despite talk of closeness, Robin was consistently hostile toward Mary, doubting her business abilities and undermining her attempts to further her education. Mary was a hard worker and brought in substantial money from side ventures. Robin's criticism of Mary's lack of a business plan was bold, given Robin's own unstable employment history. Kody and Robin surrounded themselves with people who validated their inflated egos, which led to their current isolation. The wives framed Mary as greedy and wasteful, but she consistently contributed to the family financially. Kody's own failed business ventures, including the gun business that lost money, were not held to the same scrutiny. Robin entered the family with significant debt, including to Victoria's Secret, and had a past as a model and dancer. Her relationship with Kody was heavily sexualized, which she used to maintain influence. Robin's failed jewelry business contrasted sharply with Mary's success with the B&B. Robin resisted apparel merchandise, despite it having a higher profit margin. Robin's negativity was a major factor in undermining Mary's B&B. She was manipulative and determined to get her way, even if it meant isolating Mary from family support. Mary wisely separated her business and real estate interests from the toxic family dynamics. Mary's acquisition of the B&B also had a deeply personal element, providing a nurturing space for her mother in her final years. This act brought Mary peace and fulfillment beyond the business success. Robin's business failed because it was poorly planned and executed. Mary's success demonstrated the importance of a clear business plan, dedication, and proper execution. Robin's inability to produce a proper business plan during investor presentations exposed her lack of preparation. Mary's B&B, on the other hand, was a viable business. Mary eventually shut down the B&B temporarily for a major remodel, which explains the pause in operations despite its success. Here's the shocking truth no one's admitting about Kody and Robin's marriage. It wasn't about love or equality at all. In fact, everything they've said about favoritism and polygamy is just a carefully crafted lie to cover up how they really manipulated the family. And the worst part? It's been playing out right in front of us this whole time. So now Kody admits he favored Robin, after all the times he insisted he didn't. First, it was because Robin had an office for him, so naturally he spent more time at her house. Now, apparently he fell in love with her. In other words, he got completely brainwashed by Robin. He says one thing, then contradicts himself almost immediately every time he opens his mouth. Essentially, he's saying, "They hate me because I had a higher love with Robin, but don't accuse me of treating her better." Everything that comes out of Kody and Robin's mouths is spin. This was their plan from the start. Robin never really wanted a polygamous marriage. She wanted a polygamous marriage only so she could be the favored wife and have the others serve at her feet. That's why she's so upset the other wives left. They were her financial and ego support system. It's pathological with those two. Their sacred covenant was to end as monogamists, with Robin as the permanent favorite. Kody's so used to lying to compliant women and getting away with it, he forgot that people are watching. He's not a victim of circumstances. He's the architect of his own mess. And if you blame him or Robin, apparently that means you're jealous. He's manipulative and performative, constantly rewriting history to fit whatever narrative suits him that day. He's performing for the cameras, just like in the last few tell-all interviews. He's only angry because viewers see through his lies and manipulation. When Kody makes a big production to change the subject, he thinks people will forget the original question or suddenly believe he's a good man. Sorry, no. Dressing up a white trash man in a suit doesn't make him less abusive. People dislike him because he took advantage of the original 3 wives for years. It would have been better if he'd just been honest from the start instead of abusing them emotionally, financially, mentally, and verbally all these years. Sure, those women were brainwashed to some extent, but they should have left sooner to protect the kids. He's not a good dad, as Janelle has pointed out repeatedly. He leans into accusations as a way to hurt others. He was never equal before or after wife number 4. There was always a hierarchy in the family, which is why Christine felt like a basement wife before the show even started. He's been admitting he favored Robin more over the last couple of seasons, but always twists it into "I favored her because she was a good wife and you weren't." Same story, different spin. This is classic narcissist behavior. Deny, downplay, deflect. People often blame Robin as the puppet master, but Kody is a grown man responsible for his own choices. He wasn't a good husband before Robin either. He always chose favorites and made wives feel like they had to earn his love. Robin became the permanent favorite because she was the youngest, skinniest, and most submissive. Some manipulation was likely involved, but Kody definitely knew what he was doing. The other wives stuck around hoping the tides would turn again, but Robin made sure that wasn't going to happen. His marriages to Mary, Janelle, and Christine were mostly out of family connections or expectations. Robin was the first wife he genuinely wanted and was attracted to. Once COVID hit, he had the perfect excuse to live a monogamous life with the wife he truly wanted. Mary's biggest mistake was divorcing him without securing a fair settlement. He easily outmaneuvered her. Bottom line, Kody is a liar. Everyone thinks Kody Brown was the perfect polygamous dad, but here's what no one talks about. His ego and control issues quietly destroyed his relationships with his own children. Many viewers feel that Kody's peak era as a father was during the earlier seasons, roughly seasons 1 through 6 or 7. In those early episodes, he seemed to genuinely care about his children's well-being and made efforts to connect with them. Several of his children have even said that he used to be an amazing father before things changed. There is a perspective that once fame and ego got to Kody, he started to treat his family poorly. Some suggest that his deep immersion in polygamy might have led him to view his children less as individuals and more as offspring or extensions of himself, especially as the kids began to grow older and question his authority. His reaction to questioning from older children, especially teens and young adults, appears to be negative. He sees questioning as a threat rather than a natural part of growing up. This dynamic contrasts with how many children grow and form their own identities. Robyn's role in the family also seems significant. She appears to have more control over Kody's attention and affection, and he seems more involved with her children than with his older kids from the other wives. Over time, especially with the influence of COVID and the resulting shifts in family dynamics, Kody's control over his children seems to have diminished, and he has reportedly struggled with this loss of control. Some believe he's more interested in the admiration and adoration from younger children than in maintaining deep relationships with adult children. Several observations from the family dynamic. In the early seasons, Kody was often portrayed as the fun dad who engaged in light activities, but left the day-to-day parenting and discipline to the mothers. Many of the older children from the original 3 wives, Ogi 3, were quite independent, often raising themselves in many ways. Kody rarely handled basic parenting responsibilities like making breakfast or putting kids to bed. These duties were often delegated to older children or the mothers. After Robyn joined the family, Kody's involvement shifted heavily toward her family, seemingly neglecting the other children more. The older kids' relationships with Kody are often strained, and he has been accused of not taking responsibility or making efforts to reconcile. Regarding Kody's parenting style, he tends to prefer situations where he is admired and in control, rather than engaging with children as individuals who have their own thoughts and feelings. His focus on the younger children, especially Robyn's, may be because they remain in a worship phase, providing the admiration he desires. Older children who question or assert independence appear to have distanced themselves, which frustrates Kody. Many children grew into responsible adults largely independent of his direct parenting. Some believe Kody's parenting was always more superficial and ego-driven than genuinely nurturing or engaged. The original wives often defended him publicly, possibly to maintain a family image and keep the show going. Overall, the family's current division and Kody's relationships with his children suggest he struggles with evolving family dynamics and the natural independence of his kids, compounded by his ego and reliance on admiration. His focus on control and authority has alienated many of his adult children. Here's the harsh truth nobody's saying. Kody's time on the show is over, and yet he's still hogging the spotlight. Why is that? And who should really be front and center instead? Kody and Robyn. Boring. Beyond boring. Their storyline has the energy of a soggy napkin. Kody already burned through whatever relevance he had left on the show. At this point, the producers should just sit him down, ask the real questions everyone wants answered, and make it clear he doesn't get paid unless he answers them. What's he going to do? Threaten to walk away? Please. The show moved on without him a long time ago. Meanwhile, Meri, Janelle, Christine, and their mostly grown kids could easily carry 2 or 3 spin-offs, even if they're just limited series. Honestly, would anyone voluntarily tune in for a Kody and Robyn spin-off? If so, please explain why. Is it the abs, the hair, the cowboy act? Because it's hard to see how that would work. Most of the conversation centers on Kody and Robyn. Hate watching is definitely a thing. Without their dramatic nonsense, there wouldn't be much to watch at all. But that well is drying up. It's time for the whole family to move on and find life after reality TV. Really, enough already. watching started out as morbid curiosity for some. Over time, polygamy became the least interesting part. The real appeal was seeing everyday people being themselves. It would be interesting to see how they're doing now, even if it's just highlights. After all, any life looks interesting when you skip the boring bits like traffic jams or grocery shopping. That said, most viewers fast forward through Kody and Robin, except for certain jaw-dropping moments. People watch all kinds of bizarre content, so it's hard to explain why anyone stuck with this show to begin with. But here it is. Regarding spin-offs, the concern is the forced drama these shows require to stay afloat. The highest point was probably when they settled in Vegas, right before things risked becoming boring. If the main show continues, it could focus on Janelle, Maddie, and Caleb managing a flower farm, Christine and David settling into married life, and Robin and Kody providing material for hate watchers. Also, it's time to remove Kody's editorial control and negotiate directly with the adult children. The only spin-off that might work would be short, unscripted updates from whoever wants to share their life events. Something along the lines of 90 Day Fiancé Diaries. It would also be great to see the original three wives collaborate on a channel or platform, offering commentary on earlier seasons and behind-the-scenes insights. Would watching a fully unfiltered Kody and Robin show be tempting if it included more candid moments from the kids? Possibly. Reality shows have revealed abusive behavior before, often caught on camera by those involved. While hate watching has its appeal, a show focused solely on Kody and Robin isn't likely to draw much interest. The preference is for shows centered on the original wives and their families, showing their ventures and daily lives, minus Kody, of course. Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love to you all.